See the new AI-powered question bar on today's Tanium Tech Talk. Welcome back to Tanium Tech Talks. I'm your host, Ashley McGlone, and you heard that right. Tanium is now adding AI capabilities to our user experience, and today you'll get to see that in action. So what does it do? Is this safe? Can I turn it off or on? How do I get it? Is this going to make my computer show up with 3 legs in the picture, right? All those kind of questions. We're going to get to those today. And we've got a special guest here that now you may remember him from the popular episode on Automate recently. Stephen, thanks for coming back to the show, and please introduce yourself.
Thanks for having me, Ashley. Really excited to be back on Tanium Tech Talks. As Ashley mentioned, some of y'all might have seen me on the Tanium Automate one. I am the Director of Product Management here at Tanium. Been with Tanium about 3.5 years now and lead our automation and platform experience efforts.
We just rolled off our big annual user conference called Converge. I know I've mentioned that just about every episode. You're probably tired of hearing about it, but it was so amazing. And it was so good to connect with many of you in person. And wow, those main stage announcements were amazing. And we got our Tanium certification. I have to give the shout out to certification people and the CTF, all that stuff, right? It was all amazing. So, but those main stage announcements just blew people's minds. It blew my mind to see where we're going with this. So, Stephen, first thing I have to ask you is, can you just recap for folks who weren't at the conference, where are we headed with AI?
As we saw this past week, and I've seen many of you this past week here, the exciting announcements around Tanium Autonomous Endpoint Management, it's really about providing intelligent, deliberate recommendations that really drive towards real-time autonomous actions. And that's really central to how we think about AI in the Tanium platform. And it's really about looking to embed that intelligence across our platform and across our different solutions to help our customers execute critical IT and security workflows. And all that is really built on our ability to gather so much data, so much telemetry in real time from those environments to really drive those insights and really give you the highest probability and recommendations that can make positive changes to your environments at all times. But all of that is governed, and we are very careful with human control. We want to make sure that you as a user are engaged at all times. And that's really central to how we're thinking about AI as well. And customers are part of this AI journey with us. We want to make sure that the AI applications that we're building in Tanium are rooted in practical, high utility areas that really seamlessly go alongside how you take action and how you gather data within Tanium.
Well, that's a mouthful. And I appreciate everything you said there because it's all intentional. We want to make sure that people understand all that, those aspects of the direction. But I'm a Tanium admin. And I opened my Tanium console one day, and what am I going to notice that's different in my console experience?
Yeah, and absolutely. It's something that again, we want to make it a seamless experience for you. So that it shouldn't necessarily be something that really pops out and disrupts your workflows. And so first, it's going to be about insights, right? So when you come into the console, AI generated insights that's there for you, call it, in the last week or last couple of days, what types of changes have we seen in your environment that we've gathered from the data, and really call out those types of anomalies and drive recommendations so that you can take action or do additional discovery and investigation. And another part of this is really about achieving simplicity, right? So when you come into the console, how can we leverage AI and that power of AI to make discovery of data, to make actionability in your environment so much more easier, so much more fluid in your day-to-day workflows. And again, I really want to emphasize control, right? So whenever we're talking about AI in the console experience, we're never going to just take action without your consent, without your knowledge. It's all about making sure that we're delivering the right pieces of information and insights to you at the precise time that you want so that you can make those high fidelity decisions whenever you need.
And today we're here to talk about what the first part of that's going to look like. And I'll just give people a little peek behind the curtain here at Tanium, in the TAM organization where I work, our customer service organization. We have a special event every year where it's kind of like, I compare it to like a high school or a school science fair when you make your project. Here's what I made with Tanium, right? And the last time we did this, somebody demoed from our dev org. They demoed what you're about to see today, and it blew our minds. It was like, oh my goodness, this is where you've been all my life. This is amazing. So, Stephen, what are we here to announce today?
Yeah, absolutely. So we're really excited to talk about Tanium Ask. And what Tanium Ask is, it really allows you to enter natural language questions, very colloquial questions that you would, perhaps ask about your environment. You enter that into our question bar, and it will spit out the precisely crafted query for you so that, if you're perhaps a non-technical user of Tanium, or you're just new to Tanium, or even you just don't want to kind of write out the exact query that you want that day, just really ask a very easy question and being able to use that question bar, get that answer to you really quickly and leverage AI to really help support that process. That's what we're really excited to talk about today. And it's really our first of many applications of AI that we're going to be building in Tanium. And so really looking forward to sharing, what this Tanium Ask experience can look like.
So we've always called it the natural language question bar, that first thing you see when you open the Tanium console. So if it's even more natural, or now it's the casual question bar, maybe like you can just
Yeah.
put it any way you want without having to remember those sensor names. This is a big deal. So uh, I'm going to go ahead and ask this question right up front because I know it's the first thing people are thinking about anytime they hear AI. We're automatically suspect because the first question we want to know is, hey, what happens to my data? The stuff I'm typing in here, is that going to some AI engine on the internet that's going to expose my company name if I'm putting, domain names or machine names? Is my data going to be exposed? And what should I tell my AI governance board?
First and foremost, data privacy and security with AI is our top priority. And data is protected within your environment. So we never share this data or use it in any way without permissions from our customers. So what I do want to highlight is, we have a lot of policies that we've built up over time, again, in collaboration with our customers, to make sure that they're receiving a notice ahead of time and they're always aware of how we're using their data and where that data resides. A couple months ago, you should have received an email as well as an in-console notification about our upcoming enhanced AI capabilities. So this is something that you could go into your platform settings to go and have the option to opt out of enhanced AI capabilities. And this really helps govern whether or not any new or upcoming capabilities that leverage AI will show up in your environment. So again, just giving you that full control at all times of how you use that within your company, your usage of Tanium, and respecting any policies that your AI governance board might have. With that said, we do have a link up here to our responsible and transparent AI practices. So it really goes and digs into how we responsibly use AI, what our guiding principles are, and how we plan to use AI in the future, whether that's generative AI, machine learning techniques, and again, digging a little bit into our opt-out functionality for AI. So a lot of our customers have been asking about this, especially their legal counterparts. So this is definitely a reference that you can share with your teams there to make sure that this falls within the policy and standards that you guys have set.
Well, thanks, Stephen. And I want to make sure for those of you who are watching, the links to both of those blog posts are in the show notes below. So make sure that you can share those as if you didn't see that email, maybe you're a new customer, just come on since that was sent. So we've got those links for you there. So I noticed in the language very clearly here, a couple places, opt out is an option. But if I'm, say, a Tanium on-prem or cloud customer, and I just want to go ahead and start using this, well, is there anything I have to do to enable it or configure it?
For Tanium Ask in particular, if you have the enhanced AI feature setting turned on, no configuration is necessary. It'll just seamlessly work within the question bar for you. So we're really trying to make it as easy as possible, but again, give you that control to make those decisions at all times.
Okay, so I've got that setting turned on, and now I'm assuming I know it's going to be in cloud, but what about on-prem? Is it available for on-prem customers as well?
Yeah, so we're first starting with our US-based cloud customers, and this is just our first step to enable AI features across our customer base. And we're currently exploring outside of the US region and for on-prem customers as well. But we want to be very mindful and very deliberate in how we expose AI capabilities and making sure that we are satisfying all the data governance, residency, and privacy laws and regulations in other regions as well.
All right, we have spent a lot of time talking, and we got to get the demo. I want to see this, and I want our people to see this that are watching. So, take us through and show us what does this look like in the console.
I mentioned the interact question bar here in natural language, and naturally you mentioned casual language bar or colloquial language bar, and that's really what we're trying to do here. Just really make it super easy to ask any type of question and have the Tanium Ask give you a really optimized query to gather information from your environment. So let's take an example question here. What computers installed patches this month but did not reboot? And so what this will do is it'll actually go and generates using industry leading models to create these queries for you. And within a couple of seconds, you should be able to see this perfectly crafted Tanium query for you to actually go and ask this question. And as you can see here, I can go and click here to actually ask the question from that result. And I can see again the seamless nature in which I can enter a colloquial question, a very casual conversational question, and actually just see those results here. And of course, if I want to do additional follow-ups and drill downs, I can leverage the question builder here and kind of add additional types of parameters to the question as well.
Yeah, and I think one of the things that's most helpful here is that it can maybe come back with different syntax than what I was expecting, but it's going to get me started to know which sensors I should be considering when I'm trying to structure my question is a great start.
Yeah, absolutely. And we've talked to a number of customers, many of our advanced customers, and sensor discoverability is oftentimes an area where, they're looking for some assistance, right? There's a ton of sensors that we ship out of the box and they might have created as well. So being able to really ask this question and leverage AI to help generate recommendations for you is definitely something that, we're trying to build with Tanium Ask here. And on that note, what's really neat about Tanium Ask is it even pulls in custom sensors as well. So if any sensors that you have created on your own, those can also be identified and used within your question here.
And we'll just put a public service announcement right here. When you go create a new sensor in Tanium, there's a description box. And generative AI is looking at the data that it has to work with. And so be sure in your description box on your sensor that you put descriptive language that the Tanium Ask engine can identify what it's going to do and what it's going to return so that it knows how to find it easier when it's looking for your custom sensors, which works. Well, we've tested it. It's amazing to see custom sensors coming in there too. Well, let's go back to the question bar here on the main Interact page because there's a little more to this. That was obviously our first try. There's some other things. If you drop in another prompt there
Yeah, let me
and
try
just,
another one too.
yeah, let's try another one because I want people to see. All right, show me the Macs with File Vault enabled. Notice the nuances in this prompt. And it does take a few seconds, but I want to pause right here and look at the right side of the question bar. So, Stephen, can you tell us about these yes, no buttons first, and then that other little kind of funnel looking icon?
Yeah, absolutely. And so, really part of this AI capabilities, we want to continuously improve, right? And so every time you ask a question, we provide this yes, no capability where I can provide a positive or negative response. And that helps improve the model to recognize, is this output what it was expected, or is there improvements we can make? So this is a continuously iterative process that will help the Tanium mass generation over time here. Now here is where I can actually copy to the question builder, and as I kind of showed before, based off of that generated question, I can then go and do additional drill downs, select additional options. But again, just making it a very seamless process for you as the user to build these types of questions. And actually, as you mentioned before, right, this is really helping you get to a recommended state right here. So over time, we're going to start actually suggesting multiple options, and that's something that we want to do as well, right? So maybe there are different types of variants or ways that you want to ask that question. So just giving you the additional options and then giving you a recommendation is where we want to give you a jump start here.
Let's go back to interact again. We're going to keep doing this. This is the whole show right here, is Tanium Ask. And so if we go back here to Tanium, the question bar, and we put in another question, and I want to, I mean, yeah, it's going to not worry about typos anyway, right? Just the way we've always had. But I want people to see one other thing here because I've been playing with this, and it's a lot of fun, and I can't wait for you to play with it as well. But notice the question here, how many Windows 10 machines do I have that can be updated to Windows 11? That requires like a couple levels of, thinking, right, for the AI. But now I want you to notice, okay, so on the right, Stephen just pointed out the yes and no. So let's go ahead and run the question then. So you can say, okay, was the question helpful there? What sensors it generated? But now look at the top right. Tell us about this part, Stephen.
Yeah, absolutely. So there's two parts in the feedback, right? So when you actually generate the question, we want to understand if this is something that looks right for you to use, but actually then be able to drill down and say, once I've asked the question, what are the results that it's giving back to me? And based on the results, give me another layer of feedback. Again, this is just making sure that we build additional robustness into the model. So this is really important as well because sometimes when you're looking at the question, it might look right, but the results are not exactly what you expected. And so being able to actually provide this feedback in the question results page just makes it so much better.
Yeah, and I was going to point out here also just the way this question structure get number of machines with. So if you ask a question that says how many, notice this new result style. And this seems like it's outside of ask, perhaps. Maybe it's just an interact improvement. But now if you say, tell me how many, or, give me a count of, you're going to start to see this just a simple number response, which is also something you might see. So Stephen, let's say I didn't want a number. I actually wanted the list of machines. I notice sometimes when I ask questions with Tanium Ask, I'll just tell it, I'll ask my question and I'll say, please put the computer name with the results, or please show me the details beside the computer name, something like that. And you can actually make a prompt that's, a couple sentences even if you want.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the more data and inputs that you feed, and it could be very casual, the more precise you'll start getting with your query here. So, absolutely. If I wanted to make modifications in the query, the way I ask the question, it's really going to take that into account on how you're returning results, whether that's by counts, whether that's looking at computer names, even by like grouping them as well. So, definitely a lot of exciting and fun ways to actually play around with Tanium Ask to see the types of outputs that it would provide for you.
So we'll go back to the beginning here again because I want to just explore the nuances of this experience. So explain to folks as they're typing kind of the interpretive delay, like of a few seconds when you stop typing, then it knows that you're done and it automatic. So you don't have to hit a button that says go calculate my prompt response. How does that work?
Yeah, so let's just try another example here. So as I'm typing this out, basically it will recognize whether or not it is aligning to our normal syntax patterns. And so as you start, typing out more words, it will start recognizing whether or not it has any suggested results based off of the standard question bar that you have today. And if there's no results that it pulls out, then it will start sending a request query to Tanium Ask to start generating and using the LLM models that we're using within Tanium Ask. So it's really trying to be a seamless experience here as well, where if you are a user that knows precisely what type of query that you're looking for, get computer names with X, it's not going to use Tanium Ask, right? So we're trying to make it as easy as possible to use and not be disruptive to your current workflow. So basically, it's only initiated when we've recognized that the query is not fitting the form in which normal syntax patterns align to in Tanium.
So what I heard there, if I could restate it, is you can ask your normal Tanium prompt, your question bar syntax that you've known for years, and that's still going to work, and it's not going to use the Ask AI experience. But if you put some stuff in there that it doesn't recognize, it's going to kind of flip over and use the Ask experience. Is that right?
Exactly. Exactly. So the
Okay.
entire objective here is to just really provide that seamless trigger. And the question bar is going to continue to parse and deliver results as you follow standard Tanium syntax. So you're right on, Ashley.
Now, a couple other things I want to ask here is I know there's a limit because we're in the days of cloud services that are not free. And so you get so many prompts per day or something like that with any one of these services. So, how does that apply here to Tanium?
Yeah, absolutely. So we do have a limits in terms of the number of questions that could be parsed with Tanium Ask within a 24-hour window. So how this works is it's a rolling window. So every few minutes we evaluate how many queries you've used Tanium Ask for. And if it reaches that limit, then it would just revert back to the existing enhanced search experience. So of course you'll still be able to use a question bar as you would normally, and you just give it a couple minutes and it will that limit's going to come down. And you can kind of reuse Tanium Ask as you need. And that limit is something that we're still working through in terms of cost optimization and providing the best experience for our users as well. So that limit may vary, but if you do hit that limit, you can reach out to your Tanium support or your account team, and that's something that we can work with you on to figure out what works best for you.
And the word cost came up there. I know the answer to this, but I want our viewers to understand. Do I have to pay extra to get this in my Tanium subscription?
At this time, no additional cost to our customers to use Tanium Ask. And this is really to allow us to really explore the frontiers of how we are using AI in the platform, and kind of work alongside our customers to figure out what that experience is for our customers in the near term and in the future.
So that's good news. All right. So turning back to the demo screen where we are here, without touching anything, I just want to look at and read what's parsed out here. So give me poor performing computers. And so it says get computer name from all machines with a Windows 10 hardware requirement summary. All right, so maybe that's not the sensor I was going for, but then there's other things like performance endpoint score. Okay, that's maybe what I'm looking for, where there's a low performance score, high memory consumption. And just in playing with this, as we were getting ready for Converge and testing this, I've noticed that, so number one, everybody has a lot of fun with AI generated images, right? How many arms and legs do the people have, or a horse with 5 legs or whatever, right? So you're going to see the sensors and the logic sometimes comes back here, and you're going to say, well, that's not exactly what I was looking for. So that's that button on the far right side there in the question bar to take that to Question Builder. So what I like about this, like we said earlier, is it gives you the sensors you may not have thought about using. So then I can come in here and I can just hit the trash can on that first one if that's not really what I'm after. And then maybe I just want to hit get the following data. So it gave me the computer name, but maybe I want to add the endpoint score in there as well. So I can just add that row, throw the endpoint score in there, just start typing endpoint score. There we go. All right. So now, even though it got me close, all right, and I want to set your expectations appropriately here, right? It is still AI. So it's artificial intelligence, and it's going to get you close. So you can still just copy it to Question Builder, tweak it a little bit, and I think that this is really going to help accelerate your Tanium experience. Stephen, I'm curious what you've heard from early testing, adopting customers, and how this has changed the way they use Tanium.
Yeah, as you mentioned, this is really about accelerating the time to value with the Tanium platform, just making it a lot more easier and intuitive to gather data. And so I'll say there's a couple of ways that heard our customers and partners talk about this. So the first one is, for non-technical stakeholders, Tanium Ask is a really easy window to gather information, right? So without having to wait or rely on, your Tanium technical teams to field or respond to a data request. Just be able to go in and just ask a question very colloquially, without any perhaps base Tanium knowledge here. Another type of user that we've been hearing is a newly joined Tanium operator, right? So someone that's just newly onboarding to the platform, not necessarily familiar with, sensors and syntax, but again, giving you a easy way to ask critical endpoint information without having to need to master the platform yet. And then the advanced users, right? So as you mentioned, this is a way to get you to 80%. So, sometimes it can be difficult to, parse through the hundreds, thousands of sensors that you have in your environment, but really nudging you along and guiding you to perhaps the appropriate one, or, maybe a sensor that you didn't know actually existed. Just really, again, being assistant to our advanced users as well. So, a lot of different ways that we've heard our early users, try to use Tanium Ask. And at the end of the day, it's a really fun way to actually ask questions. It's somewhat addictive in some ways as well.
Yeah, it is fun. I mean, and sometimes I'll just ask it silly questions that have nothing to do with Tanium or anything else in the world because that's what you're used to playing with AI anyway. And of course, it's going to say no result. Okay, we don't know that about that. But you're, but one thing we were playing with some of my friends here at Tanium, somebody said that they were typing Spanish or Portuguese, and it actually there's no support guarantee on this yet. This is all still fresh, right? But you can try it in your native language. So our international users try non-English prompts and see what you get, see how accurate it is, and let us know. Give us some feedback with that little, thumbs up, thumbs down. Let us know how accurate it is parsing that out too.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's definitely been something that we've been seeing with customers as we've been playing around with it. All these different types of variations, even mentioned language, that's a huge one, right? And that's something, again, we have international customers around the world. And we want to make sure that, again, the Tanium experience is a great one for you as well. And so, to clarify, it's not something that we are officially supporting, but it is a way and the lens towards moving towards that direction. And again, this is a power of AI, right? This is where it can really help you in many ways that might be unexpected as well. So, it's a really exciting journey to be, working with customers on this and in building this product to make Tanium platform an intuitive experience for all.
Well, Stephen, I have to just say it was good to see you again at Converge this week. As we wrap up here, any other closing remarks for our customers?
Yeah, I would say again, big takeaway I would say here is, we're trying to be very pragmatic in the way we're embedding AI in the platform, and working alongside our customers is really how we're going to make sure that we're building the right things and keeping AI privacy, governance, all those top of mind items for our customers in mind as we're building out these new capabilities. So it was really exciting to see our customers at Converge this week, and hope to continue that dialogue and conversation on really the future of AI and how we can use it within Tanium.
Well, thank you for joining us on the show again today, Stephen. And for those of you who are watching at home, remember in the show notes, there are those two articles that we linked with the resources for you on here's the Tanium's AI governance policy that you can submit to your own company for review, right? And then the Ask announcement, Tanium Ask release announcement, all that's in the show notes. And so, folks, this is really just the tip of the iceberg with Tanium's new capabilities. We announced so many things at Converge, and we're going to show those things to you here on this show as they come out here within the next few weeks and months. Keep watching because there's more fun, mind-blowing demos. I mean, I've been with Tanium a long time, and I always said that this technology looked like science fiction to me, and now it really does with the artificial intelligence acceleration here. So go try this in your Tanium console. If you're a cloud customer, it's there for you right now. So go try it. Let us know what you think. And until next time, Go-Tanium.